That's Chisi Island. You might recognise its shape. It still looks the same from this angle, but it's become very different once you're there. And the main reason for that is this cyclone that hit in March, Cyclone Freddy. This is my second time heading out to the island since I came back to Malawi last week. Didn't feel like the right vibe, atmosphere or whatever to be making a video last time round. I was shocked, and people had quite sad stories to tell. Basically it caused the lake to rise about 2 meters, which has affected everything. Like the roads around the island, it's completely flooded. So every village on the island has almost become an island of its own now. You have to walk up over hills to get from one village to another. The rain that came for 3 days solid washed away almost every house. No, almost half of all of the houses have some damage. It's either a wall missing or a roof gone or both. And they haven't been replaced in 6 months. A lot of that is because one of the main building materials they have, especially for roofs and sometimes for walls as well, are the long lake reeds, the grass. But because the lake level has risen 2 meters, there's no more of that as a building material. There's no more of the lake reeds. The guys here, strong as horse, Baka, Indiganezani, Indiamayani. Normally they'd be punting, but now they're rowing because the big bamboo poles aren't long enough because the water is so deep. Then for the people, one of the main things you'd notice is that everybody seems to have lost weight. All the adults look about 5 kilos lighter and about 5 years older, just with tired, haggard faces. The kids, you know the way when you don't see kids, especially 3, 4, 5-year-olds for a couple of months? They've grown and it's noticeable. So I haven't seen these kids for 6 months and they haven't grown, and that's what's noticeable. And they look rough and scrubby, and food prices have increased across the country. And because here it's the end of the supply chain, they're feeling the pinch here especially. It's almost like a refugee camp in a war actually. There's loads of women and children, but all the men are gone. Because the lake level having risen, mainly the fish that they catch here are found in shallow waters. So the good fishing spots have moved further up the lake. So all the men are gone off on 2 weeks stints in fishing boats just to make some money. Steve Chimenya, the guy who punted me across this lake since 2019 and a good friend, and who he's one of the main boatmen here between the island and Kachulu port. He's gone as well and he hasn't come back, so it's a completely different livelihood for him. What else to say? Yeah, I've been back and forth to the island, and I'll continue to go back and forth a lot over the next couple of weeks because my time can be better spent on the mainland, especially because of the rising prices of food. It's going to increase and increase and increase. Normally the hunger season here is from December, January until March, April, when they're just waiting for the harvest to come through. But it's already started now because of the food scarcity. Basically the 3 days of rain from Cyclone Freddy and the fields being flooded just before harvest time, it meant that a lot of the harvest was lost. So already food prices are quite high, and they're only going to get higher. And El Nino is forecast this year. It's a rough old cocktail of different factors. But basically I've spent a lot of my time since I got back last week scoping out where to buy cheap beans, cheap nutritious beans, 50 kgs of which I am sitting on, these little cowpea beans. I've bought 2.3 tons of those, which equates to 23,000 school meals. which is going to be really important out here, especially when the hunger season starts.